welcome back to my channel. As always, my name is Joy. Now in this video, I got this word about 2 weeks ago and I've just been sitting on it, quite honestly, just because I know it's for me and it's something that the Lord has been telling me strongly and showing me in my life. But because I guess I wasn't fully ready to be like, all right, God, I hear you. I was not ready to release it, but really God has been really like pushing me to release this word. And I just really want to come and let somebody know, like, God has been talking to you and telling you like they cannot go with you. God has been telling you this about some family members. God has been telling you this about some friends, some really close friends. Not just friends or associates or co-workers, but God has been saying this about some really close friends and even some family members. And you have been like, oh, that can't be God. Like, I really love him. But one thing we have to understand, people come into our lives sometimes just for a season. In the season that person was in your life, you needed them. They were there to help you. But now you've transitioned and God is saying you're carrying dead weight. You're carrying too much luggage. Like, you're carrying things that you're not supposed to be carrying going into your promised land, right? And God gave me two scriptures. The first story that God started ministering to me was the story of Naomi and Oprah, right? And we know Naomi was married. She had two sons, and the two sons married these two Moabite women, Ruth and Oprah. Right? And eventually Naomi's husband died and the two sons died, and Naomi was bitter. Naomi was bitter, but one thing Naomi did not know is the simple fact that she was actually in transition. She did not know that she was about to cross over to her next. She was about to cross over to the promised land. Oh, why am I on this? Listen, crossing over to the promise, right? She did not know. Now, she got to a place where she was like, listen, I'm going back to my people. I'm going back to my family. And she had these two daughter-in-laws. And she kissed them and she said, listen, you guys have to go back to your families. You have to go back to your people. I have nothing to give you. I've lost my sons. I can't get married and bear other sons. And you wait for them to grow up so they can marry you. You have my blessings. Go back to your people, right? And I want to pick up this story right here. Ruth chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. And again they wept together, and Oprah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth clung tightly to Naomi. Look, Naomi said to her, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. You should do the same, right? So they get to this crossroad and Ruth is like, listen, y'all have to go back. You have to go back to your people. You have to go back to your gods. You have my blessings. You just have to go back, right? Because I'm going back home. I'm going back home empty. I'm going back home bitter. I'm going back home defeated, right? She was going back home. And Oprah was not a bad person. Oprah was married to her son. Oprah had been there for her mother-in-law when her husband died. Oprah had been there for her mother-in-law when her son died. Oprah had been in Naomi's life when Naomi was going through the storm. Oprah was a good person. But at this crossroad, at this crossover, Oprah just couldn't go on with Naomi. Her story was over. Her part in Naomi's life was over. And what God was ministering to you, there are people that God has been revealing to you that their part in your story is over. And it's not because people are disposable. But what God was ministering to me was 1 John 2 and 19. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that none of them were of us. Those people that are meant to go with you, those people that are meant to cross over with you, your Ruth, they are going to cross over with you. But you have to let Oprah go. You have to say goodbye. And I have to let you know this is something that I struggle with greatly. I struggle with it greatly because for me, I don't make friends easily. I'm very closed in and I'm very shy. I know you can't tell from this, but I'm really shy and it's not easy for me to make friends. And once I become friends with somebody and I open up to them, for me, it's very hard to let them go. It's very hard because I've allowed them into my space. I've allowed them to see parts of me that other people don't get to see. I've allowed for them to see the goofy side of Joy, to see the fun, loving side of Joy. I've given so much of myself to them. So when it comes to a season when I have to say goodbye, for me, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. And I'm not going to lie to you. I cry. I even battle with God and tell God I don't want to let them go. But I want you to hear what the Lord said in 1 John 2:19. That they came out of us because they were not of us. Because if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. There are people in this world. There are people in this journey. There are people in this season that are simply going to leave you, that are simply going to depart from us, that you're simply going to have to say goodbye. And the Lord was even ministering to me that there are some family members that you're going to have to say goodbye to. And it's going to be hard. You're going to cry. You're going to scream. You're going to kick. But I want to let you know you've crossed over and they just can't go with you. They just cannot go with you. They're not disposable. But their part in your story is over. They're not bad people. Their part in your story is over. I want to read 1 John 2:19 again. They came out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that none of them were of us. They have to go because they're not supposed to continue with you. This is where their part in your story ends. They can't go on with you. You have to let go. As hard as it is for you, as hard as it is maybe for even them, Naomi's breakthrough, Naomi's promise came when she let Oprah go. She continued on with Ruth because Ruth was supposed to continue on with her. And Ruth was a divine connection that led Naomi to be a parent again. Do you know that when Ruth gave birth to her child, Naomi nursed that child? Nursed that child. I mean, this is an old woman who had grown boys nursing a child that she did not birth. But it is because she hearkened into the Lord's voice and she let go of Oprah. She kissed her, she blessed her, and she said, "It is okay. I understand you're not supposed to continue with me. I wish you well, but we have to go our separate ways." This is where you say goodbye. God has been speaking to you. You know who you are. God has been telling you you have to let them go. And for me, as hard as it is, I know that's something I have to do. And crying, kicking, and screaming, it's something that I am doing. And I encourage you to continue praying to the Lord. Ask him to reveal to you who's supposed to go on with you, who's supposed to be left behind, who are you supposed to kiss and say goodbye to, because their part in your story is over. Now, as always, he loves you. I love you. Be blessed.